Most MLBB guides suck, they're all just one-shot builds or fake 100 kill fantasies type shit that leaves you wondering if the player even played the game. So I'm here to show you in-game wisdom that actually makes you a better player. I get it, macro stuff is super complex, but I'm gonna break it down in the dumbest, simplest way possible so nobody ends up commenting stuff like, "Too hard to understand, I hope your hand burns on the pan," or something like that. Alright, so in MOBAs, there are two important aspects that you need to train to actually get good. Micro and macro. In short, micro is your hand, while macro is your brain. For example, let's say you're playing Yin. You probably already know what kind of hero he is, how his skills work, what items to build, and what to do with him. That's all micro. While macro is bigger than that. This is macro. It's not just about your hero, it's about the whole map, your timing, your game sense, your decisions, basically your brain game is macro. Now if you go even deeper, macro is actually really complex, but to keep things simple, I broke macro into several layers. Actually, you don't need to think of it as layers because all of them are equally important, but the first layer is wave management. Wave management is how well you control minion waves in the game. This is super basic. Everybody, whether you're in gold, XP or mid, deals with minions. So you better start understanding minions because they can tell you everything from what your team is trying to do and even the enemy's plan. Especially if you're playing as a roamer or jungler, this is key. Wave management boils down to 4 main actions: slow push, fast push, freeze lane, and cut lane. And each one has its own use depending on the situation. So freeze lane, this is when you zone out your enemy like what Desicion do to Sicilian right here, or when you stop the wave near a turret like this. And this makes it risky for enemies to walk up and take the minions. But before you do it, you have to know if your hero is stronger than theirs at that level. Freezing a lane is great when you want to play aggressive, or to bait your enemy while you wait for the lord to respawn in the late game. Next up, cut lane. This is usually done when you're using a hero with fast wave clear and good escape skills, so if you got gank while cutting lanes, you can escape it easily. And why do you cut lanes? So you can rotate faster than your opponent. You see, if they stop to clear the wave first, they lose rotation. But if they choose to rotate, their turret gets attacked by your minions and they lose gold and XP. Moving on, we have slow push. This is used to build up a big wave and create pressure. To do that, you clear the 2 small minions and leave the big one alive. Then you rotate somewhere else and let it build up. If your enemy ignores it, they'll probably lose a turret even if no one pushes that lane. If you like to watch the MPL, you've definitely seen this trick often. The point is to make a big wave that's hard to clear. And lastly, we have fast push. This is the most standard move that people do. It's just you clear the lane as fast as you can before doing something else. It's great when you want to rotate, invade or set up objectives. Like here, when I use Link to clear the far lane before going for the Lord setup. You see, in the late game, Lord fights when in 5v5 is just straight chaos. Like, if I get close to the Lord, I'll be for sure get targeted by the frontliner. And if I back off, their jungler will be the one who's close to the Lord. So instead, I force one of them to go home first, and that gives us a better chance at securing the Lord. Because my team are in a group of 5 and my enemy are in a group of 4. And if you look in Epic, Legend, even in lower Mythic, a lot of players still ignore wave management. That's why split push heroes like Sun, Argus, and Zilong are so popular there, because people still focus too much on kills, and getting comeback because they don't care about the waves. This is one of the most basic but important macro skills, so master this before anything else. Number 2 is map control. This is your ability to read and predict what the enemy is doing and where they're going. You know that feeling when you just know the enemy jungler is ganking top, or when you feel like they're about to start turtle? That's map control. This macro doesn't come overnight. Usually you only get good at it after playing every role, because to control the map, you gotta understand the whole map. So how do you actually control the map? First, it starts with lane pressure. If you're not pushing your lane, you're not moving. So clear the wave first, and 2 things will happen. Your enemy has to stay to clear it, and you get to rotate and do whatever you want. And that gives you the first move. You can rotate, invade, set up objectives, while your enemy is stuck dealing with your wave. If you can consistently clear first, you're dragging your enemies around, like they're forced to deal with you whether they like it or not. And even if you're not rotating, just pushing your lane can help your team by a lot. Then you need to have vision. And no, I don't mean that sixth sense where you feel someone is about to die in gold lane. I mean actual vision, like using your eyes and the map to see where people are. Like this, I can see Kimi is going to top to maybe take this and Florin is walking to here. That means they're probably gonna gank the bot lane because the jungler is missing too. From that information alone, I know that Kimi is somewhere here because the Pokemon is gone. And just as I expected, the jungler and Florin is here. It's basically like map awareness, and yet somehow people still treat vision like it's optional. So how do you get good vision? If you're a roamer, your job is literally to scout, hide in bushes, patrol enemy jungle, and gather information just like I do, because every time you give info, you're giving your whole team a free map hack. If you're a jungler, every time you rotate or pass through enemy jungle, you're also collecting data. Did you see their mid laner walking past you? Did you spot their roamer walking to top? That's vision for your team. Even if you're a laner, you can give vision too. Let's say you cleared the wave and you don't wanna rotate yet. You can sit near your lane and see if your opponent is missing and ping them. And please, don't just walk into a bush like an idiot if you're not a tanky hero. Usually, to make it easier to get vision, people use heroes that can open the map like Selena, Popo, and Yushanxin are actually really useful because they have skills that give vision and can show enemy position. Number 3. Objective trading. Let's say your enemy has full setup on turtle. They are ready and in a group of 5, and your team is scattered. Contesting that is just asking you to get killed. So what's the best thing you should do? You trade. Maybe steal their jungle or take a turret, so you're not giving them everything for free. It's like, okay, take the turtle, we'll take 2 turrets. And if you notice, good players always look for trades. They don't tunnel vision on one thing just because it exists. They always look across the map. Look, if you can't fight, what can you take instead? Even if you're behind, you can still flip the game around by just trading smarter. Next is target prioritization. This is knowing who needs to die first in teamfights. Usually the marksman, mages, or that annoying junglers that like to cause chaos, not the roamer with 10,000 HP. So if you're a carry, stop outing the tank just because he's slow. That's not your job. You need to delete the backline. So why are you bursting Fredrin when Layla is free hitting you from behind? I know it's not always easy to reach the squishy heroes, but that's where timing comes in. You wait until they waste key skills or overextend, then go for it. And if you are the frontliner, your job is to soak damage, bait skills and spells, and be as annoying as possible. Make them waste everything on you. And if you've done your job correctly, I guarantee you'll win more games. So here's to remember, your primary targets are marksmen in mid to late game, mages in early to mid game, except for Sicilian, and the jungler when fighting for an objective. And your secondary targets are the frontliners, but only attack them after their carries are dead or if they threaten your backline. Moving on, we have flanking. Flanking means hitting the enemy from behind, not from the front. Here's an example. Look at that show. Most people would just do the flicker ulti in this kind of situation, right? But here, he chose to go all the way around so he wouldn't be seen. Use the conceal and then pick off one of their core heroes from an angle they weren't expecting. And because of that, Geek actually won the match. That's flanking. So how to flank properly? First, check the map. See where your teammates are, where the enemies are, and even where the minions are. Because you'll show up on the map if you're near enemy minions. That's why wave management is important, because it gives you vision and timing. Usually, 2 things will happen after you clear a lane. One enemy goes back to clear the lane, or they all commit to fight. Then it's up to you. Use your decision making. You can either join the fight and flank, or keep pushing and eat their turrets. But keep in mind, you don't actually have to clear the lane first. You can just flank right away just like what Baloy do. But if your lane is clean right before a team fight, people usually won't expect you to suddenly pop out from behind like that. Speaking of decision making, that's our next layer. I'm not gonna stop saying that this is the most important macro skill that you need to master. Decision making is all about what you choose to do, like doing a fight or split push, contest or trade. This can change the entire outcome of the game. For example, if you're a roamer, you know you don't have a lane, right? So before the 2 minutes mark, you have a ton of options. You can start in the gold lane like most people do, help your own jungler to clear, invade the enemy jungle, help your mid lane, or go to the XP lane. That's a lot of options, right? And each starting path has its own benefit for you and your team. If you're starting in the gold lane, the goal is usually to protect your gold laner, especially if they have lower damage or weak early on, and also to bully the enemy gold laner while you're at it. I'm sure you guys probably already know with this one because a lot of people always do this. Basically, just babysit your gold laner until they hit their power spike so they can finally start carrying your team. If your roamer starts in the XP lane, it's usually cause they wanna hit level 2 first. So don't buy the roam boots right away. Help your XP lane clear the wave fast. Grab that level 2, then buy the roam boots. After that, you're free to do whatever you want. Maybe invade the enemy jungle or go bother someone like I do. And since you've already got 2 skills, ganking is way easier now. You got more damage, more skills, and better odds of messing someone up. If you start mid, your job is to help your mid laner clear fast. Why? So you can instantly pressure your enemy and get early kills faster. If not kills, force them to waste their spell, or make them recall so they're not on the lane. If you start in your own jungle, it's usually to speed up your jungler's farming speed. This one is perfect for roamers that have high damage in the early game. You guys need to be like this kind Selena who always helps stranger farm. So your whole job early on is just to make sure your own jungler hits level 4 before the enemy does. That way you guys can start ganks earlier and win them. Lastly, if you start by invading the enemy jungle. This is for the menace like Franco, Tigreal, and basically the roamers who are annoying. The whole point is to annoy the enemy jungler so they fall behind in farm and level. And if you do it right, you can really mess up their own rotation. All 5 of these starts have their own pros and cons, and which one should you choose, it all depends on your situation and your decision making. So look at the draft, read the enemy comp, and find out what your teammates are trying to do. This is why good roamers usually have insane macro because they're the ones making the first big decision from the start to finish. And that's just for the roamer, we're not even talking about other roles yet. Other example of decision making is like this. Imagine, there's a big team fight going on. You see your teammates are already fighting, but you're way too far in another lane. Now you've got two choices. Either you join the fight, but the fight might not happen because you're too far, or just push the turret near you. If it was me, I will push the turret. Why? Because I will definitely be late if I try to join the fight. Then instead of getting nothing, just push the turret. Even if the fight doesn't happen, my team still gets value because I secured a turret. Another example, imagine it's already late game and the Lord is up. In this situation, you've got a lot of choices. Join the fight, push top, or take Lord. What should you do? First, you gotta see, can your team actually win the fight without you? If yes, then choose between pushing or taking the Lord. Since the Lord is super valuable in the late game and I happen to use Ling who can solo it, I choose to take the Lord. Because even if my team gets wiped out here, once they respawn, we'll have a Lord to help us push easier. I know this might sound easy, but in game, this stuff is hard. And that's just an example of two situations that junglers will experience. Look, you need to understand this. A good carry isn't just someone who gets a lot of kills. Like, it's cool if you can do 100 cables and kills with Fanny. But what's even more cooler is being smart with your decisions. An amazing carry is someone who value their team first before thinking about kills. Macro number 7. The most important macro on this video. All the other macro only work if you follow just exactly how I do it. At exactly 3:33 AM, sneak into an abandoned playground. If a swing moves on its own, you're in the right place. Bring a mirror, a single cold chicken nugget, and a childhood photo of you with the eyes scratched out. Then find a rat, strangle it with your bare hands. Once it's dead, smear the blood on your face and rub its feces on your chest in an X shape. This part is important. Do not skip the X. Then kneel, lean in close to the mirror while facing east and whisper the following incantation.
Apreiatur an Romeo veniam prae sedentes, sanguinem nomen eum tenebris.